beyond known space. Activate the scanners.
Seems almost a message coming from space.
And I'll bet that they're being heard on every radio telescope on the entire Earth. Find the emission source and destroy it. Behind this strange signal is an alien intelligence that knows all. Find the emission source and destroy it.
Looking at me, but I don't do no jump. Nah, trade it down with me, so that's a whole lot of money. Motherfucking stay big, stop, hold up, wait a minute, okay? You that suit y'all do for the pussy, now you have to pay to hear that right. Stop playing with me, stand up, get out down. Got your motherfucking daddy with me, hands up in that crowd. Got this jump in, he got corn with him. No legs, I run with you. Let go head, I come get it. Ain't smart motherfucker, some bitches better watch out. I heard he like to jump off in the crowd. I'm a laid back type, see I might jump off on the couch. That me, rollin' on them molly, better to fuck a bitch now. They come by the end of this song, I bet they by my dollar, they do follow, they one leader. Change up in the crowd, I'm standing, ain't no sheeters. Yo, ho, got me fucked up, talking like I need no time to stand. Look at the crowd, know like watch out for them people. Watch out, watch out. Oh shit, he bout to jump on that stage.
just in my teens. NBA money, nigga, this just one of my rings. You say your nigga getting money, that ain't no money to me. You say your nigga getting money, that ain't no money to me. Turn the fuck up. Turn the fuck up.
Lately, I've been dreaming about the desert. We'll be riding through the thunder on a midnight train. And baby, what you say, these are the best of our days. Best of our days. Best of our days. Best of our days. Baby, what you say, these are the best of our days. Best of our days. Best of our days. Just to try and play it cool. Ran out of time, I can barely make it through. Booze down my throat, I see waves of changing hues. The smoking sky, yeah, the streams of flowing stars. The glimmer of light, travel miles and miles afar. Into our eyes, they discovered where we are. We'll never know, cause we're a million years apart. Drowning ripples of pounding sea. Trapped and choking in my nicotine. Cause I'm losing all my sanity. I'll overrun my memories. I can't take this new reality. I can feel my own gravity. I'm still looking for my clarity. These are my memories. I'm 21.
Hello and welcome to the Watchers Brawl and our main bracket matchup between Skycru eSports and Nebada. I am Spaceman and I'm joined by the highest flying Dutchman I know, man of class. And what a matchup we've got tonight, class. Who I believe may be muted.
I am not muted anymore, at least, even if I was. But yeah, we've got a good matchup tonight. Going with Skycru eSports, Nebada. And not just the matchup is great, but we've got a new patch, so there's a lot more to talk about, even beside that. But you know, there's only one way to really do it, and that's show you what they're gonna do. I mean, we can talk all day about what a new patch can mean, what the new hero can mean, because Baptiste is now playable. But we won't really know what he's gonna do until we actually see gameplay. Because we can talk, like I said, we can talk about it, but it doesn't really matter unless people actually do it.
We can do indeed. And if you are new to the Watchers Brawl format, the first match we're going into, the first map is going to be Lijiang Tower, and this is going to be normal vanilla Overwatch. But then when this match ends, that's when the hero saves and bans start coming in, when the map saves and bans start coming in, when things get a little bit more interesting and you sort of get a meta above the meta, if you will. So it's going to get really spicy after this first game. But first things first, these teams are going to match up against each other on Lijiang Tower with all of the heroes, with Baptiste, and it's going to be pretty crazy. I think we might see some interesting compositions.
I mean, yeah, we might even see some quad support, maybe some bunker compositions. I don't think necessarily on Lijiang, but maybe somewhere else later on in the game. So we'll see. I mean, we'll definitely get 3 maps, maybe even more.
We may do indeed, and the other thing that you will, if you're watching this from home, need to be wary of is the fact that there's an MVP poll. You can look in the panels below this broadcast and vote for your favourite player. So I tend to leave it till towards the end of the game before I start voting for my favourite player, just to see how they actually compare. But if you want to go in and vote now, there is absolutely nothing stopping you. So please do get involved. And it looks like we're going to Night Market first class.
Night Market, I love it. It's going to be a map where a lot of people will still like to run a more heavy composition. What's been very popular here is running the 3-3 composition, but with a Winston rather than a Reinhardt. On the other hand, though, there's also been a lot of teams that prefer to play more DPS heavy compositions nowadays. So we'll see if that actually comes out. We'll see if Baptiste maybe comes out. It's going to be a fun one, and I'm really looking forward to both of these teams and what they're going to do. What is really important, though, and that is the really thing I really want to mention that doesn't really have anything to do with new heroes or balance changes. It has to do with the core mechanic change, and that is the CC change. Lucio and Brigitte will now both be so much more powerful, booping people off the cliff here. That it's actually an insane change that they've gone through. And both of these teams are likely going to be abusing that a little bit if they can.
So take us through that patch change then. What is it about the new boop mechanics that makes it so powerful?
Okay, so you used to be able to, when someone was booping you, move your character towards the boop. Basically saying, okay, you boop me, but I sort of boop back because I move forward into your boop, so I get less effect from it. That entire interaction has been deleted. So a boop is always a boop in the same consistency that it can be. So you always get booped away the max distance that you can be, and that's just the change that's gone through. Which means that a Lucio boop, a Pharah boop, a Brigitte boop will not actually always launch you the same distance with the same force, no matter what you do about it. That is going to be something that if you don't want to fall off a cliff, it's going to be very important to take note of.
Yeah, I suppose it brings a lot more consistency to the game. However, there might be a few little corners and things, especially I'm thinking on this map here, Night Garden, where before, if your momentum was carrying you on to the point and you got booped, you might be able to survive. Whereas now, in the new patch, perhaps not.
Looking not, but these teams are both running the Brigitte and the Lucio, but the main difference here is Night Sky on the Mei. And instead of the Diva, that could provide a little bit of a point contest there, but it does seem like the other team is on the point first.
Yes, Skycru in the blue, brawling it out against Nebada. No casualties as yet, but Mabel coming up. Invader does go down, main tank down for Skycru. This gives the numbers advantage to Nebada. They're able to get a little bit more aggressive, and Skycru is backing off accordingly. Maniac Man will go down. Nebada now pressing to try and get some staggers, and they get control of the point first.
And you always want to go as far as possible to get as many kills as possible, as late as possible. Not just for the ult charge, also for the time management. You know, getting more percentage on that counter. But the Mei was a good protection there. They're gonna try again with the Mei. Of course, attacking with the Mei is not a problem. As long as you're able to split someone off, you'll still be able to get that kill in the same way. But it's just a little bit better on defense sometimes. So let's see if they can make it work this time.
Skycru going in for round 2. They are meeting a lot of support ults coming out from Nebada down, but it will be Invader that gets the first pick onto Pristine. This means the numbers advantage was in favour of Skycru, but Night Sky is gone down. We see the Shatter now coming out from the Saklar, which I think has just wrapped up this fight.
There's still a little bit brawly here and there. Like, not every single member is down, which you often see with these 3-3 compositions, that they just able, when one falls, they just are able to melt everything else down afterwards. Honey does go down, was just a little bit out of position there, was actually looked to be safe, but that Fire Strike will still reach you. And yeah, they're going to reset now. They will have some ults coming up now. They'll have the Graviton, Sound Barrier, and even the Blizzard. And that Graviton Blizzard together, they can just completely shut down an entire team. That doesn't even matter if you have a Sound Barrier at that point.
Nope, maybe looking to eat that Graviton Surge, or at the very least, the Blizzard that's coming into it next. Skycru getting closer and closer to that point. Trying to jockey a little bit for position here. Look for an opportunity to use that Graviton Surge. They are now engaging with the Sound Barrier, pushing forward. They're caught in the Shatter, though, of the Saklar. And look at that kill feed. It is red, red, red. That is exactly what you need on the defense, especially it's 88% class.
And that is such a problem for Skycru here, because if you have those ultimates, that huge combo, and you're not even able to press the button to use it.
They do come in with the Graviton Surge, but they're caught in a Graviton Surge of their own. They can't even get to the point there. No. It's all well and good having those ultimates in the bank, but as you say, if you can't use them, you're not going to get any value out of them.
You need to be able to get that out. If you're not, then yeah, you need to take a hard look in the mirror and say, like, guys, why didn't we get these ultimates off? Was it really because they were better, or were we just a little bit slow on our execution? Yeah, every single team will deal with that differently, obviously. But, you know, maybe they'll bounce back in the next map. You know, a very different map. A lot more opportunities here to play DPS, more mobile compositions. And this is probably really where you'll see these boop changes come in. If I don't see any environmental deaths, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed. I'm going to be honest with you there.
I mean, I'm a little bit disappointed. We've seen no Baptiste as of yet. I'm you know...
Don't worry, it'll happen. It'll happen.
I'll be celebrating when it does. But we've got 2 pharmacies on the go. A lot of rockets flying either way here. Looking for some targets, looking for an early kill. But I'm liking the composition coming out of Nebada here. Very mobile and very DPS heavy. We're seeing a few hacks come out from both Sombras here, but it is Night Sky that gets the first kill onto Jokester. And this is looking good for Skycru. They have the numbers advantage, they can get onto point, and they can start turning this series around.
Yeah, they're looking a lot more comfortable on these DPS heavier comps, you know, more mobility, the Winston, the Diva, everything working in tandem properly to get everything down. Even the Tracer couldn't get anything, and you see, she's got a pulse bomb, but she didn't actually manage to finish one off. And that is a big deal for a Tracer.
There's a Cloud with that pulse bomb. Looking to finish somebody off now. Does manage to find Mick and Rock, giving the red team here the numbers advantage. They are pushing in. They just need to get the kills, and they need to clear this point. And we're seeing the Valkyrie, though, coming out from Honey. Honey looking to stall out for as long as possible, rain down some death from above, and also keep some healing on her team as well. And they're doing a very good job at just stalling out the points here. They should lose this fight, and as Invader walks into the mine of the Saklar, they might well just do that, but they're getting a few kills of their own. They're able to stall out here, class, and they're buying a lot of time here.
They're buying a lot of time, and that's the problem with these TPS heavy compositions. It's not the same as with GOATs. You're not, when you've got a numbers advantage, that you just keep sustaining and you'll win. You, like, every person on both teams can die at any moment in time. That's like, it's the beauty, but also the hard part about these compositions. You just see Night Sky constantly winning these air duels, and Nep is just getting nothing done. Now, both of them still have got their barrages up, but it's going to be actually interesting to see if they can actually use them without dying or actually get any value from them whatsoever.
Yeah, Nebada had the numbers advantage throughout that last fight, and they just weren't able to take the point there. They're going to have to move in and do something now, but the Saklar just manages to get out of danger, to get healed back up there by Pristine on the Mercy. But look at this, 87%. They need to start getting onto the point, but they've already lost Very here. They're going to have to start using these ultimates. The barrage will come out. He finds Honey, but there's a counter barrage from Night Sky. That kill feed is looking pretty damn blue, and I think Night Sky should be able to even up this series. We are seeing an EMP now coming out from Krispy Kreme. and that might just be the icing on the donut in this fight.
Yeah, it really looks to be. I mean, the Scalar actually gets that last kill. Nep tries to come back on the Soldier, but it just won't be enough. And it was a very dominant showing here, just the other way around. It really just seems that both these teams have a very different idea of what they're good at. Different play styles, different heroes, and different compositions that they've been better at. And it really shows that Nebada has been playing these heavier 3-3 compositions for much longer, or at least to much greater effect. And yeah, on the other side, they really are not that comfortable with them. They will, however, still pull it out. No quad support on Lijiang Control Center like we could maybe have seen, but I mean, it's not never too late. Like we said, there's still at least 2 more maps, and if we see a bunker come, that might actually exactly be what we will see. It's likely where the Baptiste will come in.
Yeah, I mean, Nebada here rolling out on the Goats composition. They look stronger on Goats so far. Obviously, they were suffered a bit in that DPS heavy composition on Gardens, but they're coming in. But the Saclar there is frozen by the Mei, and that kill feed is looking blue once more. Maniac Man, already such high energy, gets 2Ks there, and Krispy Kreme's just pushing forward, holding the left leg as Brigitte is wont to do, and they're going to win out here. And they have the Mei on the defense as well, class.
Yeah, that's really the biggest part of this. Is just if you're defending this point and you have the Mei, you can literally stand in that choke point where they're standing right now. You just keep holding it forever because it's so hard to get through there without getting walled off. They are trading out though.
Sackler, walled off, going down early, and another wall there. We just got walls left, right, and center in that little choke point. And that's just allowing Honey to get back to the point. You're just floating back on that Zenyatta. Maniac Man goes down. The Sacco actually gets 2K, takes out the front line there of Skycru, and that's allowed Nebada just to push through with a numbers advantage. They just need to focus some targets. Jokester does just that, taking out Pick and Rock. A lot of healing there, lost for Skycru. They're going to have to back up. They're going to try and buy a little bit of time, but this point is going to flip.
Yeah, it was basically all the supports left at that point. Sure, they had the Mei there, but she's only there for stall potential at that point. That doesn't really do that much damage on her own. So yeah, it was a clean engage. I mean, they got Honey before they even started their attack, and then they just were able to clean everything up. But that's a great shatter straight away.
Great shatter, great wall, stopping the Skycru from pushing through and taking advantage of that Graviton Surge. And indeed, they're being forced back to spawn here.
It was a bit of a shame. Look, investing such a big ult like Graviton and then not getting any value from it. I mean, they still have 5 other ultimates, so they should be able to make something happen here. But on the other hand, they could also just be walled off and then use the Graviton and the Blizzard on themselves. And you can have 5 ultimates, but if you die, you can't really use them.
Trying to use the wall for a little bit of cover there, but they're caught in a Graviton Surge and the Blizzard as well. I think we've got multiple Blizzards going on there. Lots of colors on your screen. But it's the Sackler that will fall first. This has given Skycru the opportunity they need. And Honey, she's just hitting those shots, taking down 2 members of the opposing team there. Zen with a little bit of a damage boost in recent months. Able to do that little bit of extra damage with the Orbs of Destruction. But Skycru need to clear the other team off the point here if they want to flip it over. And this has been very back and forth so far, class.
They've been very back and forth, but the big win here is that while they use a lot of ultimates, Maniac Man is ahead of the Cloud here in the Graviton race, and not by a little bit as well. There's going to be a very big advantage going into this next one.
Nebada trying to get through the store without being walled off. Unfortunately, that's exactly what happens to the Cloud. But the shatter is there from the Saclar, manages to catch most of Sky Cloud in it. They push forward, but there's a counter shatter from Invader, but Invader goes down shortly afterwards to Nev, and there's kills on both sides. We see the Graviton Surge now coming out from the Cloud, but an instant Transcendent from Honey, keeping the rest of Sky Cloud alive. And they're just looking to stall out, keep that percentage ticking up in their favor. If they can get it to 86, 87%, they're going to force Nebada into last fight territory. And that seems to be exactly what they're doing right here.
Crispy Creep is still holding out there with that shield. It's eventually gonna fall, of course. But the magic number on control center is always ID control map most of the time is about 86%. In this case, they have 90, so it will be last fight territory if they win this one. But yeah, Pristine somehow gets that last hit. I don't think that was a solo kill, but that would have been nice if it was. Now we're gonna see.
Pristine either way.
I mean, yeah, they gotta get in now though. We used the wall pretty well. You just split them off from the attack, and yeah, they're gonna go back to point now. Have the blizzard on both sides. There's the first one.
And here's the second. Last fight territory. Both teams fighting it out on the point. Mick and Rock will go down first to the destruction orbs of Jokester. That kill feed is looking red. Nebada here looking to hold this point. They've got the Transcendence to keep them alive as well. Overtime is ticking down. Maniac Man, like a maniac, just manages to get back on the point, but it's too little, too late, and Nebada will be taking Lijiang Tower.
And that's a close first map. I mean, they both got a stage with 100-0, and the last one basically went to 99-99 for a while. I mean, that's just semantics. 90 or 99 is basically the same thing at that point. So yeah, there's gonna be a series, and I mean, Control's always a bit of a hard game mode to predict things on. But if you see these teams both preferring their own play styles, they could definitely bend maps and hero bans and hero picks to their will to make this a very tight series.
Nice, a little play of the game there from ZaCloud. And Honey, for those that can't see it at the moment, did a lot of healing in this game. Just over 11k healing done, and she was hitting some really good shots as well, but so was Jokester. I think both teams here seem quite evenly matched. And now, class, we are at the even more exciting bit. We're going to start seeing some map bans, and then some hero saves, and then some hero bans, etc. So I think what comes up first here, it is for Nebada to ban a map in a map pool. And let's talk a little bit about the map pool here. We've just seen Lijiang Tower, so we can't go to a control map next.
That will be impossible.
It will be impossible, but potentially one of them could be banned. So we've got Ilias and Busan in the control map pool. So what other maps could we be going to here? Hanamura, Horizon, Junkertown?
We have Assault, Escort, and Hybrid, the game modes, of course. So that's the ones we can go to. Like you said, we have Hanamura, Horizon, we have Junkertown, Gibraltar, also Eichenwald and Hollywood. And it's a very smart ban here from Nebada that they're banning Gibraltar here. Gibraltar is by default just a DPS heavy map. It's very hard to play a 3-3 composition there because of the overarching high ground that is literally everywhere. There's no way you can shield from all that damage coming in. Snipers will 100% be able to pick up some squishy here and there. So you just need to actually play the mobility comps there and have the DPS. So seeing as how it went on Gardens there, Lijiang, very very wise that they're not gonna go there. So we still have Junkertown, Hanamura, Horizon, Eichenwald, and Hollywood left. If I was Nebada, if I was Skycru, I would go again. You go for a map that is more DPS heavy, where you can use mobility more, where you can abuse that. From all these maps that we have here, I think Eichenwald is a very good choice because of the overarching high ground on second point mostly. You can have a lot of mobility used to get off and on to that high ground, and you can really force an enemy team to also have to go onto a more mobile composition in order to actually contest that. Because the 3-3, as much as they can just stand on point and go, they really can't do that much on Eichenwald because they at some point have to actually kill you in order to move further forward.
Looks like we will be going to Hanamura though, so to 2CP Assault. We've seen a little bit of DPS on this map before. It's going to be interesting to see what they do, because this is a perfect map for that bunker comp.
It definitely is. Glad you bring that up. Obviously, you can use the Baptiste, the Orisa, the Bastion in a very good tandem here. Just set them up on the high ground on the first point, and just shoot them when they try to walk in. What else you add to that composition is really up to you. Most teams would like to add another tank, usually like something like a Diva that can actually contest the objective a little bit, because Orisa is hard to be able to do that. And then on the other side, you could essentially say maybe add another healer to it, something maybe like a Zenyatta, maybe a Mercy, maybe an Ana, depending on what your needs you feel are. And you could even add another DPS because you have another slot left. But with all that Bastion damage, not 100% necessary. So you could go for a third support or a third tank. That's totally up to you when you what you want. You could even go for the Symmetra to have more mobility in the in everything.
Just
So,
looking at the heroes save here, it does look like Nebada have saved Reinhardt here, so they really do want to stick on those heavy compositions. That is sending a bit of a message right here, right now.
Is definitely something they would do. And of course, if you're playing against the Bastion comp, a very smart thing to do is just to be able to get to point before they shoot you down.
Oh, but look at this, Skycru banning Zarya. Here we go.
Yeah, it's a big deal for a 3-3 composition, because what would you replace Zarya by? I mean, often in a 3-3, Diva can be replaced by like something like a Sombra or a Mei. But the Zarya ban, that takes away, I would say, about 50% of most of the damage that's being done in a 3-3 composition most of the time. And those gravitons are so devastating to any composition, really. Because whether you focus down 1 or 2 heroes with it, or whether you focus down an entire team to it, you essentially win a fight just from that one ult.
But one thing all the viewers at home should be focusing on right now is those panels beneath the broadcast that allow you to vote for your MVP of the match. Remember to get your vote in either now or a little bit later in the broadcast to vote for your favourite player, whatever the reason.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen already some quite good plays come out from several players, but there's definitely a lot more plays to be coming. And of course, they might actually be playing a lot more different heroes, which could also influence your decision making. So again, you don't have to click it now. I mean, if you want to, of course, we're not going to stop you, but it's always good to save your judgment for a time where you're 100% sure that you've seen everything that they can throw at you. And I don't think they have, so let's see what they're going to come out with on these spawns
and
here.
so you're not confused when you're casting your vote here, Skycru eSports, no longer in the blue, but will be on the red. They have chosen to attack. Nebada, I believe, actually chose to defend here, so they will be in the blue this time round.
Oh, in the blue, the boys in blue. This time they're going to be defending first, and yeah, it looks like they're setting up the thing that we have.
Excited, boss.
And, yeah, I can imagine you're excited. And they've chosen to go with the Mercy with it, which is, extra damage boost, which Baptiste can already provide with his ultimate. But they also chose to go with the Soldier. So that's the second DPS they throw in. On the attack, though, they're going to come in with this double DPS, this 2-2-2 setup, the Pharah Sombra dive. I'm guessing as soon as they see this, they might be able to swap off. You see the Sombra just scouting already. It's a very smart tactic. A lot of teams will do this. You see, like, what do they have? Do we actually want to go in on them with what they have? And looks like they do. Looks like they're not really phased out by this bunker composition.
I think they're just gonna dive the bunker and see what happens. Now we're seeing the Baptiste come into play with the invincibility field, but that's taken straight out by Night Sky on the Pharah. Night Sky on the Pharah just getting so many kills. And that bunker comp wasn't much of a bunker there in the end.
And the big deal was, it was just Krispy Kreme. Everything about that was just Krispy Kreme, because Krispy Kreme hacked Neb on the Bastion, and then if Bastion's gone, you're missing more than 50% of the damage that you would normally able to do. We're talking about how much damage Zarya does in a 3-3 composition. Bastion in a bunker composition does about double that. So if you hack that Bastion, it does not a sentry form. You basically take away about, again, the 60-70% of their damage or something.
Jokester still on the Baptiste. I'm just excited. We're seeing a little bit of Baptiste play here. Skycru, though, sticking to that DPS heavy composition. We saw how good they were on the Zhang with that. Looking to succeed again on a DPS heavy composition. Night Sky nearly at the barrage as well. Looking to utilize it now to keep this snowball rolling. Look at that kill feed. Skycru just pushing on, getting kill after kill after kill. And I think they've just snowballed this. They're going to finish with a lot of time left on the clock. We're going to see some stall perhaps coming out of the... Oh, we do see the Baptiste get onto point with the invincibility field there, allowing him to get onto point. Whilst Night Sky was barraging there. Some interesting interactions that we've been seeing in recent weeks playing Baptiste. In quick play and now in comp as well, but Maniac Man chucking out the self-destruct, getting some kills, and it's just now down to Skycru to clear this point, but the Staggers are coming back faster and faster and faster. There's a lot of the defending team here on the point. Nebada able to get a lot of their team here, and we do see the amplification matrix on the point. Can the team make use of it there? Seclar does manage to pick off Honey, so quite a lot of healing there lost for Skycru, and they're still brawling it out. They've got 2 ticks. They want to get their 3rd here, but they're going to have to clear the point.
It's going to be so hard for them. It does look like they're finally managing to do so. Yes, there it is, but that was a little more stall, and that might have been able to be pushed back actually in their favor, but they just weren't able to get the last few kills that they really needed to turn it back around. But that's the problem, or the whole charisma, as some people would say, about the assault mode, where if you're on that last point, the enemy team will have the spawn advantage by such a long mile that every kill you get as the defender, this counts as 2 or 3 kills, you know, that the attackers have to get, because they just their numbers dwindle so much faster because your respawns come back quicker. And yeah, it did look like they were able to snowball it properly, but it was a little bit more of a contest coming out than it looked at first sight.
I did like
yeah.
the Baptiste coming out with the invincibility field. The solo barrage onto him. Doesn't die, just, you know, 2 taps the flower out the sky. Didn't used to see that before. So,
I mean, it's good burst control, because of course with that burst rifle you do have to have a little bit more of a recoil control, which is not as common as we see in other weapons here in this game. Most things are very stable, even though the weapon looks to be moving, your crosshair doesn't. And Baptiste, one of the few, actually I think the first weapon where it actually does give you recoil that is permanent. You have to actually control your gun a little bit more, which is a nice mechanic, something we haven't seen before. And yeah, I mean, the immortality field did come out, but it didn't really get the value that we were hoping it was going to get. I mean, sure, it saved Baptiste once, but the rest of his team was really not able to use it all that much. So now that they're on the defense here, they're not actually using this Baptiste. They're actually using the Mei again. Because obviously everyone will expect you to have a Baptiste with this bunker comp, but it's not really a necessity.
We'll see what exactly Nebada choose to do here. The Sackler looking for an opportunity to roll on in. Gonna flank around the outside, maybe look for some targets or put some point pressure on. In the meantime, Skycru just happy to sit on that high ground, pumping the damage, charge up their ultimates. And here comes the point pressure from the Sackler, who's swinging around, has to get out of there though. And look at this, the kill beat's turning blue this time around. Very Neb Jokester, all with very early kills in this fight. Nebada here going to be able to just take advantage of this numbers advantage, and they're going to start snowballing themselves onto second.
Yeah, definitely looks like that's what they're going to be able to do. But now it's going to be interesting to see if Skycru actually is able to put up a better defense and not fall to the same mistakes that their opponents did. Because Nebada on their defense was just not ready for the dive engage as soon as they got to second. And yeah, they really need to be on this Skycru roster right now.
Oh, I love the boot there from the Sackler, taking Maniac Man out of his position a little bit, but he's able to just fall back and get healed up a little bit. Skycru, quite a good defensive position. They got some dive tanks. They got Night Sky as well on the Tracer, able to put a bit of backline pressure onto their foes. And Nebada, oh, it's a cloud, goes to the barrage, ends up dying to his own rockets there, and I think that shut down that push right there.
It's a pretty big shutdown, and I think the main problem they're going to have with this quadruple DPS composition is that they have to get through the door without anyone dying. And that's going to be so hard to do, because there's very tiny doors, so it's very hard to just block a door and kill the person that's coming in. Very, of course, not able to be spotted, so he's just on the point there, chilling out. But in the meantime, it's going to be very hard to get Honey. It's going to be very hard to get the tanks as the solo DPS. And you just see it straight away. Maniac Man and Invader both killing a target. Nice Guy fitting off Scalar. And sure as the Cloud trades it back a little bit, but with those respawn advantage, that's just not going to be enough.
If you're Nebada, you've got to be pretty confident. You've got a lot of ultimates in the bank, including that EMP. If you can get that EMP off and capture a lot of the members of Skycru in it, you've got the visor from Neb, you've got the minefield, you're going to have a lot of stuff. You're probably going to have barrage as well. You could probably get a team wipe if you time it well.
I think that's going to be the hardest part, though, because they're playing a very split composition themselves. So how are they ever going to expect the enemy team to ever group up against them? That's just not going to happen.
See what happens here, because the Sackler's mine has taken out Night Sky, but Pristine goes down early to the blade of Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme looking to get a little bit more value. Can't find any more targets, though. And if Pristine goes down, you just got to stop your assault there.
Yeah, you do, because again, you know, you need all that healing because you only have one healer. And like we saw there, it's going to be very hard to set up that EMP because they have to get through the door in order to be able to get follow-up from that EMP. And then that EMP also has to catch a lot of members from Skycru here, which are almost never really grouped up in a position where you want them to. So, yeah, it's gonna be. I'm gonna be interested to see how long they're gonna stick on this quadruple DPS composition. It seems they already swapped off. They're now going with a solo Winston and Jokester on the Zenyatta. A little more sustain, a little more damage, but let's see what will be enough.
The EMP is coming out. Barrage coming from the cloud as well. Does take out Invader. Manages to get a shot onto Night Sky as well. They have the numbers advantage. We see Neb use the visor. Doesn't manage to get too much value out of it. But look at this. All of Nebada now on the point. They just need to clear it. They've got one tick. They're going to get two here. We're going to see the stall now coming out from Skycru. Primal coming out from Invader, knocking his foes off the point, giving him that extra bit of health as well to stay alive that bit longer to allow his teammates to come back. And now they're coming back and forth, and they're going to have a self-destruct, but Night Sky goes down to the rockets of Neb. There's kills on either side. I think Maniac, man, being an absolute maniac, gets a 3k, just shuts down that push there. They did get 2 ticks, it seems, though.
I mean, they did get 2 ticks, but like you said, they did manage to stall it out. And already they're 2 minutes below the time of Skycru, which is, I mean, it seems like a lot, right? I mean, in Overwatch, you get 8 minutes for an assault map. If you're 2 minutes behind, you're basically giving up 25% of your time for, and they haven't even started the next push yet. So this is going to be a, not going to necessarily an overtime push, but they really gotta hurry a little bit so we're able to contest Skycru a little bit in that time bank department.
Nebada will have the Primal and the Valkyrie up, but they're running into quite a lot of ultimates on the defense. And here we go, we see the Nano Blade coming out. Krispy Kreme trying to get some value. He's whipping around left, right, and centre, but gets batted away by the Primal of the Sackler. But it will be Night Sky winning out on the Tracer duel against his opposite number, Betty. The Sackler does manage to get Krispy Kreme, but again, kill feed mostly red here. And as you said before, you've got to get those kills onto the defenders. You've got to get the team wipe, otherwise you're just not going to take that point.
It's not going to happen, and I think it's going to be very hard for them to pull it off with this composition. The only thing they can really do, and what they're looking to do now, is go for something like a Nano Visor from the high ground. Just take out all those squishies and the tanks alike, because they, I mean, at that point they just shred their health down. But yeah, they got to get everyone in position. They got to get through those doors, and with only one tank, without a Primal Rage, it's going to be very hard to do so.
See how they approach this, but they can't really do it at all because it's already gone down to Honey. Honey hitting some great shots there, and Krispy Kreme kills off the Sackler. Is one step closer to his next blade as well. He's able to charge up a blade every single fight here at the moment, Klaus.
I mean, if the engages and the setup takes this long, then obviously again you will be able to just free farm all those bodies, all those, especially the Winston, just going to be free meat for a Genji that's in hunting season. And yeah, now honestly, it's not looking good for them. They really have to get something done here, and I'm struggling to see how they're going to do it because they haven't been able to get through doors without losing anything yet, and that's just been their main problem so far.
Do you see the pulse bomb from Very? Doesn't manage to get much with it. And now Invader is pushing forward, primaling. We see Krispy Kreme with another blade here, looking for some value. Doesn't manage to find too much, but doesn't necessarily need to. Honey's just hitting all the shots from the back line there. She's doing such a good job of just getting that last bit of damage onto the opposing team and finishing them off.
Yeah, Honey's been really in a great position. I mean, like, they already have trouble coming into this point, and they're gonna be in even bigger trouble here to even come close to Honey. Honey is just sitting almost in the spawn here, just shooting both teammates and enemies alike, and mostly teammates, because enemies are very hard to even see because they can't get through the doors here. Very is trying through the middle, the Cloud is trying through the high ground. They finally sort of got in, but they really have trouble still.
Got 20 seconds left on the clock. Self-destruct from Maniac Man will catch the Cloud. Neb, though, coming out with the nano attack visor, looking to do some damage. Does get the 2k here. They've managed to do it, and just in the nick of time as well, but it took them a few ults to do it, Klaus.
It definitely took them quite a few ultimates to do it, but that is really what those DPS competitions rely on, though. I mean, you have to get the ultimates up and you have to get them out. Otherwise, you're just never going to be able to actually clear any objectives. And yeah, it's good that they finally got it, but they had very little time left. So any time that they were under a minute is now also added to the time bank of of their opponents, and that's going to be a very hard task ahead of them. But we've seen crazier things. You can just cap 2 points within a minute with a minute left on the clock, so it's possible. But then they do have to have such a good defense afterwards.
We'll see what they choose to do on the attack. Obviously, they cannot play the Zarya. Zarya has been banned for this map. If you are just joining us and are wondering why nobody's playing the Zarya, that is the reason why. Looks like Jokester might be starting on the Symmetra. Are they going to go TP to point? Or we'll see what they choose to do when they come out the door.
Well, I mean, if you're really serious about running the Symmetra, she is, when she's full ramped up on her damage, actually more powerful than a Zarya. So you could go for it. The only thing you're missing is protective bubbles, but if you're TPing to point, you already got that positional advantage. You don't necessarily need those bubbles anymore.
You don't choose to run the Symmetra out the gates, but I'm pretty excited seeing Night Sky on this Doomfist.
Doomfist has actually become a pretty good hero. He's also one that really benefits from all that CC buff, and yeah, we're going to see that now.
Nebada. Only got 40 seconds left. Choose to initiate the dive. Looking to take out a target, but there's a counter dive. A Maniac Man will find Pristine. Neb goes down as well. And if you're Nebada here, you got 30 seconds. You got to try and regroup quickly and maybe come back here. I mean, Maniac Man and Invader are very low on health, but they're getting healed up by Honey on that high ground.
Yeah, again, Honey in a position to not really be attacked by anything. Sure, a dive came in, but the dive was not really successful. Because dive has always been that one sort of situation where, sure, you dive us, but we also dive you, so whoever gets more value wins. And yeah, they're just getting more value as the defenders right now.
Speaking of a dive, Invader and Maniac Man diving into the choke there. Don't manage to get a pick, but we see the Primal now coming out from Zakla. So Cloud has taken out Invader as well. So this is the chance for the attacking team. But Night Sky gets a kill onto Neb as he uses his attack visor. They might get a tick here though. Saklar is on the point with Jokester. Healing the Saklar. Oh, takes out Krispy Kreme with that biotic grenade as well. They've got one tick. Can they get the second? They do have the spawn advantage here.
It looks like they're going to get it here.
Second point.
Yeah, it definitely looks like they're going to get it here. Obviously, there's you said the attacker spawn advantage is actually quite severe on Hanamura. Most 2CP maps it actually is, but this one is no exception to that rule. And yeah, we're going to see them attack objective B with still some ultimates left. They're likely going to be nanoing the scaler so we can get A, more damage out, and B, get a primal rage a bit sooner. But that EMP is really what we're looking at. The EMP, maybe the bomb combo to really get it done. But they're forcing them to objective, which is very smart to do.
Nearly get the first tick. We see the EMP come out. We see the nano onto the Saklar, just as you said. It is Krispy Kreme that gets the first pick, though, and the second. And may have just shut down this fight. I mean, look at this. They're both brawling it out here, but this is a real tough ask for Nebada on the point. The Saklar using the Primal to try and stay alive, try and keep that dream up. They do get one tick, though, and that could prove pivotal. 6 minutes, 9 seconds on the clock for Skycru for their next attack. Jokester just having a bit of a joke there, laughing a joke. I don't think his team's coming back into this one. No, they don't manage to take the point there. But they do get one tick, class.
They do get a tick, and like you said, a tick can be very important in the grander scheme of things, as one says it sometimes. But yeah, it's they're gonna have to put up a very good defense in order to do that, because their last defense really wasn't that successful, and they're not saying they have more time now, because that's factually incorrect, but they do still have enough time to make that same time bank work again.
6 minutes, 9 seconds to get just over a tick. 39.7% on second point is... Oh, it's certainly doable. And if their first attack is anything to go by, this is going to be a close matchup.
Yeah, I mean, if their first attack is anything to go by, this is not going to be that close of a match, to be honest. But, you know, maybe the defense is going to hold a little bit stronger this time. They're running out with this. I think we can call this almost it's just a 3-3 composition. But they're going to be running out Jokester on the Ana and Zeke is a Cloud here on the Roadhog. So, you know, obviously they can't play the Zarya. Like I said, it's been banned before we actually started this map. So, yeah, that's beauty of the tournament. So we actually get to see a Roadhog, which is has actually become quite good in the current meta. You know, if you can single out the DPS, he's obviously a very good duelist in that sense. And as long as you hit the hooks, there's nothing really stopping you.
There's a Cloud on the Roadhog, looking for those hooks. Krispy Kreme trying to get through the choke without taking poke damage. Obviously, that would decloak Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme able to get close to that backline. Oh, very though! Goes for the shield bash and forces Krispy Kreme to translocate back. We will see the dive now coming in from Invader. And there's a lot of red close to the point. There's a lot of damage raining down from above. Night Sky halfway to the barrage as well. No deaths as yet, but as I say that, Murray goes down to Invader, giving the numbers advantage to the attackers, to Skycru. Nightside getting the D-Mech onto Neb as well. This fight should start stacking in the favour of Skycru. They just need to get those kills though. And if you're on the defence, you've got the Nano, you've got the Reinhardt. Invader, the Sackler, sorry, trying to get some value out of it, but can't manage to do so. Gets booped around. We see the barrage now coming out of Night Sky. Does take down the Sackler. Ned now back in mech though. If you're on the defense, you just want to buy as much time as possible. Keep that clock ticking down and down and down. And that's exactly what they're doing right here, right now. And they're forcing a lot of ultimates out of Skycru as well. Krispy Kreme using the EMP as well. Skycru just need to clear this point, and they're finding it harder and harder, especially with the sound barrier of Pristine there, allowing the defenders just to get back onto point here. We need to see some deaths, we need to see some target focus class. We see the self-destruct come out from Maniac Man. This might be able to clear the point. Another barrage from Night Sky as well, and they might be able to take the point here. Self-destruct coming out from Neb, able to get back into his mech again. Saklar going into a shatter as well. Looks like the attackers will be able to take this, but I like the amount of time that was shaved off that clock class.
A lot of time shaved off, but now they have to really quickly set up a defense. That's going to be the hard part here. They need to be ready for the onslaught that's actually going to come in now. And I mean, they obviously switch up quite a few heroes, but the attackers, even though they don't switch anything off, like you said, there were so many ultimates that were used there that they really don't have anything left. They're getting close to Sambir and EMP though, so I hope that the defenders are ready for this and that they've tracked this properly.
So Cloud wasn't ready for Krispy Kreme there, but Jokester certainly was. If you're on the attack here, I think you probably got to. Oh my god! They back-capped it! Skycru back-capped it!
Ooh, of all the things that could have happened, that is the one that hurts the most. Yeah, that is, you see it happen. You see it happen in the most professional of environments. But it still hurts to see it whenever it does, and it also hurts when it happens to you. So, I'm living a little bit for Neb here. Don't know what fight would have gone in the end, but that's definitely not the way they would have wanted it to end anyways.
Yeah, just a little bit of miscommunication at the end. It's so easily done, and when you've only got just over one tick on the clock, usually you can afford to lose a tick, so it wouldn't usually matter when you're holding second point there, but when you're in that scenario, you know, you got to make sure you keep on the point. But one thing this has done is opened up this series. We are 1-1, I believe, Glass.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's for us maybe the first series we've casted that hasn't gone through a 3-0. So that's nice for us. But also, of course, nice for the viewers and for the players, because an exciting match is always a more fun match. So whether if you're watching, if you're playing, I don't think anyone enjoys just rolling over another team. It's fun for the standings, but that's about it. So yeah, we're gonna be seeing at least 2 more maps, which is the best that we can hope for. Yeah, now we're gonna go back to that good old pick ban save system. We're gonna be starting with the map ban, obviously, and then yeah, we're gonna see which hero is gonna be protected.
So the map ban, for those of you that are watching at home, once a map is banned, it's banned in this entire series. However, hero bans reset after each match. So Zarya now playable again, unless she's banned, but we'll get around to that. So, one map that has been banned by Skycru eSports is Busan. Okay, so getting rid of some of those control maps. So we'll see what the next map is going to be when Nebada locks it in.
I would say from the maps that were left in the pool, Busan is definitely the most GOAT's favorite map. It's very close countered. Obviously, control maps are usually very close counter. But yeah, that definitely is one where you don't want to just have to run it or have to run into it. So it's very alike Lijiang in a lot of ways. So since they already lost that map, they're like, wait, let's just not go to another one of those. They'd rather go to Ilios, which is a fair bet. If you're gonna go to Ilios, you're likely gonna be able to run more DPS competitions. Gonna be able to do more with those non-3-3 compositions. Maybe even the Torbjorn. You've seen it. It's a viable strategy on the well, but doesn't look like we're going to Ilios.
Looks like we are going to sunny and prestigious Hollywood. Which,
definitely
fun actually, especially second point here.
Oh, Hollywood has a lot of potential for a lot of experimental and interesting things. Most notably, there's a lot of teams that have in the past run, excuse me, run bunker strategies on the first point defense. It might be more Baptiste favored. Whenever we hear Baptiste, I know your ears are tingling already. So maybe we'll see a little bit more of that. Maybe we'll see some Ash, some Junkrat with it. The Bastion is not as strong on Hollywood for multiple reasons, but the spam that the Junkrat can provide, the long range damage, and of course the dynamite that Ash provides against more heavy compositions. It's going to be a good one, and I hope they actually do the right thing here.
Well, we'll see what they do, because we're still waiting on Skycru eSports to save a hero and select whether they want to attack or defense. They're probably having a little chat with themselves here. I mean, who do they save here? Obviously, they didn't get the chance to save a hero because they lost Lijiang Tower. So Nebada actually saved the Reinhardt, and it was Skycru that banned the Zarya. But now it's Skycru's chance to save, and it means they don't get to ban that Zarya again. So what would you be saving here if you were Skycru?
The only thing they really want to save is something with mobility, like a Winston or a Hammond, which is exactly what they're doing. They're saving the Winston because they want to keep the option open to at least run a more mobile composition. Now, if the other side bans another tank, then it's likely going to be a mobility tank. So it's either going to be Hammond, maybe it's going to be the Diva. You could actually ban the Diva and deny a lot of sustain against a bunker composition with it. But on the other hand, the Diva also works very well with the bunker composition. So maybe you shoot yourself in the foot with that. It's a lot to go over here. Since Ooh, that's an interesting one. They're banning the Mercy.
Makes playing that Pharah that much harder. Almost unplayable, actually, because without a Mercy, you don't get the benefit of the damage boost. You don't have that pocket heal as well. You kind of got to drop down, unless your Baptiste is a really good shot in the air, I guess. But
or your Ana, your Zenyatta can keep an orb on you. Like, there are still options to heal a Pharah. It's not impossible,
the
but
doesn't really provide as much healing, obviously, as
it is not as much as the Mercy stuff. That's definitely true. And on Hollywood as well, like I said, the bunker composition has been popular. But of course, if Pharah doesn't need that much healing, if the only opponent that can really get her is a Pharah and a random Zen shot when you're playing against a 3-3 composition. So it's all gonna be up to how they play it. And the Pharah itself is not that strong, but at least the quadruple DPS will also be harder to play, because Mercy is such a good DPS healer, and especially when there's multiple DPS, you can just bounce back and forth between them. That's where she really shines, and I think it's really smart of them to just ban out the Mercy, because she's almost I think she's basically 100% necessary in multi DPS compositions.
And if there is a player that is shining out to you at home, make sure you vote in the MVP poll in the panels below this broadcast. The players appreciate it, we appreciate it, and we will be announcing the winner at the end of the broadcast, and hopefully having an interview with one of the players as well. And just to avoid any confusion here as well, Skycru are back in the blue. and Nebada will be attacking in the red.
Yeah, Nebada, of course, from the actual state of Nevada. So they definitely are close to this southwestern part of the U.S. Maybe it's a little bit of home for them. But yeah, they're going to be starting out on this 3-3 composition. Very predictable in a lot of ways. Defense, they're going to be running this Bunker composition up with the Bastion again. This time with the Junkrat and the Soldier. But the Ana as the healer, which is next to Baptiste, which is an interesting choice.
We got a little bit of a bunker comp on the go here. Obviously, no Torbjorn, no Bastion, as you said earlier. It's difficult for them to find their angles, but they do have Krispy Kreme on the Junkrat. And he's not firing donuts, he is firing grenades. And they will have to drop down on to the point, and Skycru send in Maniac Man, and we already see a little bit of the use of that invincibility field there. Does get shot down quite quickly though by Neb. 1 tick already for Nebada, and they're happy to just brawl it out on the point. They have this very brawly comp. We're already seeing the amplification matrix coming out above, and the tire is now coming out from Krispy Kreme. Does find the cloud, so a lot of picks here. Krispy Kreme getting the 2K as well. That amplification matrix class, that window of doom, so to speak, how do you rate it in a composition like this?
I mean, so you gotta always look at where is it placed, where can it be placed, and who can actually use it. And, because it doesn't just amplify damage, also it amplifies healing. So what you could do in this instance is put it in front of the Orisa, then the Junkrat and Soldier stand behind it, and then Baptiste and Ana heal through it, and they shoot through the attackers shoot through it, and then Maniac Man can just get healed up through the amplification matrix, will just never die, and that just I would rate it pretty high. I think that's the conclusion of that story.
I just like hearing your input on it. It's always good. For those that don't know, Mana Classes is also a coach of a team, so he is the big brain caster of us two. I just enjoy it, watching some good Overwatch, and Nebada now pushing onto the point, trying to give us some good Overwatch, and the self-destruct going over the top from Neb does find the invincibility field there, not much else. And now we're seeing the Nano Visor, but might be too little, too late. Does get a kill onto Pristine, but the rest of his team have fallen around him. Honey goes down as well to the Saklar. And Nebada getting a lot of the kills, and we're already seeing the effect that Zarya can have as the Cloud high charge pumps in all that DPS damage in these fights.
That's really what they needed. The ban on Zarya. We're likely, if Nebada wins this map, we're likely just going to see the ban on Zarya again. And if there's one way they can really shut down that 3-3 composition, that's definitely the way to do it. They just don't want to have that damage dealer. It's also, protecting the Reinhardt in there. Krispy Kreme staying on the Junkrat, of course, very close to that tire here, so very nice to do. And you see Night Sky going over to the Fire regardless of not having a Mercy. And it's of course very simple. I mean, Honey has a lot of ways to heal him up here, and there's also not really a lot that the attackers can do against a Pharah.
Oh, Krispy Kreme Sire gets fire struck out the air by the Saklar. And Nebada, though, having some problems dealing with all the long-range damage that is coming their way. They're going to need to advance onto point to keep that cart moving. High ground well and truly secured by the defense at the moment. The Skycru happy to sit up there, pump in some damage, try and get a kill here as well. Going to be difficult through the armor of Very. Very is providing to the rest of Nebada. We see the self-destruct come in from Maniac Man, doesn't manage to find any targets. In fact, Invader goes down, and in the meantime, look at this, Nebada has just kept this payload moving all the way along here. Night Sky trying to get a pick, trying to charge up that barrage, maybe get a few kills here. The high ground still controlled by Skycru, but they need to stop this cart from moving at some point. And they've got a few members coming back from spawn now. Invader's going to have the primal. Invader's going to be able to stall out at the last moment here. Going to dive to the high ground though. They need someone to drop down. Maniac Man drops down, but the barrage coming up from Night Sky finds two. And they're able to stabilize just as that cart is about to touch second.
Good on them, able to do it. Obviously, they kind of needed to at that point. But yeah, that's you would hate to see that they wouldn't be able to contest. So it's good on them that they are able to do so. That means we get to see more of point 2 with high ground defense, which is something I really love. Krispy Kreme going over to the Widowmaker, of course, to Junkrat after the tire. Not getting as much value in direct damage. You already have the Safara for the dedicated spam. And that's such a great stagger onto Neb there. I mean, that hurts a little bit if you're Neb, but it also feels so good when you're the defenders here.
And if you're Night Sky, you've got to be happy with this distance, right? You can just send rockets in, keep charging your barrage, and there's nothing that Nebada can really do about it. They need to get close.
I mean, they need to get close, yes, but also, they don't have to necessarily kill Night Sky. All they need to do is stay at such a range that sure, Night Sky can hit them, but will never actually be able to kill them. And that's like the main thing that Ghost wants to do. They just don't want to die. That's all they don't want to do. Just stand on the objective, push it forward. The only thing I want to do is clear out the objective when everyone gets close.
It's going to be difficult though. They're all hit by the biotic grenade of Honey, and Honey indeed gets the pick onto Pristine. Night Sky still pumping in a bit of damage. Krispy Kreme looking for some tasty headshots. And Night Sky dropping down to contest the point with Maniac Man as well, that defense matrix. Allowing Night Sky to get a little bit closer than he usually would do as well, but Krispy Kreme just dealing so much damage here. Gets another headshot onto this Clark, takes him down as well. You're the attacking team here, Glass. They just seem so disjointed at the moment. They need to dive a single target, get a kill, and move on.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier said than done, right? At least they're trying now. They're trying something different.
With the headshot. We see the nano barrage as well from Night Sky. Doesn't manage to find too much value, but it looks cool. That is pretty scary. In the meantime, though, a lot of Nebada are getting onto the point. Jokester there with the Transcendence, keeping them alive as well. Honey has a Discord on her. She's got to be careful. She could go down, but Invader's back with the Primal, just battering people left, right, and center, invading their space, and stopping that cart from reaching second there.
Yeah, and you went to Hollywood. It was your map pick, and then that's your attack. That can't really feel good for them. I think they really did not expect this level of aggression coming out from the defenders. But they could have. As soon as that Winston save came out, they sort of knew that sure, they're just gonna play this more divey defense, especially on point 2. They did get a good point A attack, but it's just not enough in order to push it through the second.
Yeah, and I think if you're running a really heavy comp, you need to stay together, and almost the entirety of the enemy is on the high ground. You just got to go to point, right? Because they have to send someone down to contest. And if that makes it a 6v1 and you can kill that one person, they've got to send someone else and someone else, someone else. But what seemed to happen was half the team wanted to get on the point, the rest of the team wanted to try and kill the enemy, and with a 3-3 composition, you've got to have a single point of focus, right? You've got to follow your Reinhardt. You've got to use your cooldowns to keep him alive, get the damage in, get your Zarya charged, and get those kills. And it just seemed a bit disjointed at the second point there, but perhaps they're not used to those sort of high ground compositions.
Maybe not. Maybe that's something. It's hard to say. You're used to it. Maybe you just haven't played against it in a while, because obviously in the dive meta that was just the way you held it. But yeah, they're not going to be able to. They're not going to set it up with the Orisa. They're going to run this Zarya Reinhardt composition, but they will have the Ashe and the Soldier. Not as much spam potential as you would get from the Junkrat, but a lot more consistent damage, which is actually aimable.
Krispy Kreme is going to do a wee bit of scouting and get behind enemy lines here. Does take some poke damage though. Means Nebada knows on point, and yep, there we go. The trans locate back to safety. We've got a lot of poke here, Glass. A lot of poke.
Me too. Yeah, I mean it's not the same amount of poke as you would get from a Junkrat damage wise, but it's not about the damage you can do. It's about the damage that sticks. And Junkrat damage doesn't always stick, because obviously he doesn't have that much aim in himself. At this point, this is going to come in from the cloud here against that dive composition. But Night Sky diving in deep, and of course Jokester is hacked, so not a lot of healing that can come out anymore of the nades, and it's just They just dive it clean up, and they've been doing this so well over the past maps. They just dive in and just get one after the other. It's just back to the old metas, back to dives, back to what we've been seeing so long. And then Brigitte came in and everything went didn't go that way anymore. And now looks like we're back.
We are back indeed. Krispy Kreme 84% towards EMP as well. Mick and Rob sitting on the cart, doing the job that is needed, you know, pushing the payload along. In the meantime, we got a bit of a fight for the high ground. Invader with the primal as well. EMP coming out for Krispy Kreme. This is allowing Skycru to get so many kills, so many staggers. We see the nano come out onto Invader as well, so it's able to do a little bit of damage with it. Only 10% towards his next primal. Payload is moving on up. If you're Nebada here, you're gonna need to do something about that.
I mean, that's the main job of the vendor. Stop the payload, and they are gonna do it, but the payload's actually still moving, so they're not on it just yet. Bob will try and do something.
Pumping in some damage. Harry gets a kill onto Mick and Rock. Payload is still moving though, but Bob will get the kill onto Invader. Honey's gone down as well. 4 minutes left on the clock for Skycru. You get that payload a fairly short distance.
Yeah, I mean, the payload really doesn't have to go that far. It will start rolling back a little bit, so maybe they can get it back to the next corner, and then, you know, they still have like 2 fights before they have to really be worried. But it's getting closer, so they really can't afford to give up much more space or lose any more fights, really.
Nebada on the high ground, very looking to rain some left from above, does drop down. Now both teams on the floor here, not choosing to fight it out for the high ground, looking for dive targets perhaps. Invader putting some pressure on Very, but Very finds Krispy Kreme. Self-destruct from the cloud as well takes out Invader, and that is another push stopped in its tracks.
And that's good. I mean, you're keeping up the pace, not using a lot of ultimates for it, so that's it's very nice. Now they'll have the EMP for the defense. They'll have a sound barrier. Bob is almost back in business, so that's something they can pretty much work with. On the other side, though, that nano blade, Pristine will have to time the sound barrier so well, and every one of them have to be so spread out in order to be able to deal with that. That's going to be a hard one.
Let's see how Skycru choose to approach this one. Contesting the high ground now. Dive does come up, forcing Suklar back to the relative safety of the ground. And now we're seeing the dive come out from Invader. Now the nanoblade is coming out, and this might just be it. Look at this. We got Suklar sleeping on the job, so to speak. But the transcendence of Mick and Rob keeps most of Skycru alive, and they're able just to kill one after the other after the other. Look at this, still ultimates in the bank though for Nebada. They need to get someone onto the point to touch it though, and looks like it's going to be the Suklar. We're getting Bob coming out as well. Bob is looking to do something, putting a bit of a pressure on the enemy team. They don't really have a front line here. They have to be careful of his damage, and in fact the Suklar and Very do manage to get some clutch kills just in time. 1 minute 40 left on the clock for Skycru to make something happen.
And Invader had to use the entire Primal Rage just to push Bob into jail, and Bob just went away after that and just got out, so, you know, not really a problem. But yeah, that's a Primal Rage gone, and you didn't really get anything for it. I mean, Ash doesn't get any ult charge from doing damage. You don't get any ult charge from doing damage to Bob, especially not where you're in ult form, so yeah, that's I don't know if that's a waste of a Primal Rage, or whether they should have just given up that fight, but Neb's now so close to the EMPs. A Cloud go to the self-destruct. They have another Nano to give to the Scalar, maybe. And on the other side, they are getting close to a Nano Blade, but the question is still, is it going to be enough? Is the EMP just going to stop everything that the Night Sky wants to do anyways?
They're putting a lot of pressure on Honey there, but Night Sky comes to the rescue. Having the EMP back online is going to be pivotal in this next fight. Night Sky back for the blade though, and Honey does have the nano for it. So we're seeing maybe a repeat of the last fight. We'll see how both teams want to fight it out. Now the EMP is coming out from Neb. Very and Neb get some early kills there. And Is that another Bob I see? I think it is. And Bob is doing a very good job at just zoning the ground there. 30 seconds left on the clock for Skycru to come back. And they do need to make something happen in this next fight, Glass.
They really need to make something happen. Looks like they do want to make something happen, though. It's not like they have nothing in the bank, but it's just going to be a vanilla Dragon Blade, it seems, and a self-destruct that will have to do the trick. And on the other side, they will have a self-destruct of their own and a nano boost to maybe throw on the scaler, just deny everything. Krispy Kreme is now on the brigade. We'll be able to do a lot more peeling for the backline of Honey there. So Honey will have a lot of protection here. But Invader already on fire. There goes the blade. We'll actually get Nep straight away. Yokester as well.
Oh, self-destruct points Invader, but might be a little bit too late. Got the nano onto the circular. He's looking to try and get a little bit more value. We see a self-destruct come out from Maniac Man. Doesn't manage to find too much. We are in overtime here. Skycru can't afford to leave anyone off the point. In fact, they got 5 members on that point. And Zacloud there is just trying to stall it out to let the rest of his team come back. Jokester is now back on the Moira, uses that fade, but gets deleted shortly afterwards. That payload is moving in overtime. It's going to reach there. And Skycru are going to take the second map. They are 2-1 ahead in this series, Glass.
They are 2-1 ahead in this series, and yeah, I mean, it was just I wouldn't say it wasn't necessarily a very dominant showing, but it's a very good showing, and in the end, they struggled a little bit to get there. And if no Bob comes up, and that sound barrier comes up in the end there, you have the people alive, that makes such a big difference. When the ultimates just weren't charged in time, maybe like 1 or 2 shots not hit that should have been hit, and that changed the course of time, and that just weren't able to hold on as a defenders here. So, like I said, Skycru going up 2-1 in this series here, but it's far from over. I mean, we get another map ban, another map pick, another hero ban, another hero save. It's all happening right here in the Watchers Brawl.
Yeah, one thing I do have to point out as well is Honey was obviously doing a very good job of healing. She's obviously a very, very good Anna, but the peel she was getting was just so good. Every time she was in trouble from Neb on the Sombra, someone from Skycru came back, even if it was Night Sky on the Genji. And how often do you see Genjis peeling for your supports? That just goes to show how good the communication is between the members of this team, right? Skycru got some really, really good communication on the go. They must have to make things like that happen. But as you say, we're getting into the map ban now, and Skycru are gonna ban one more map. So what do you expect we might be seeing next, map-wise?
There's a lot of things we could be seeing, but we're obviously there's only 3 options we really have map type-wise again. And the map types are getting, some map types actually already have been picked clean, I think. No, actually, no. So we're going back into this old one where we could go to Horizon, which has been banned, so no more 2CP maps. They just announced that they're going to ban that. So what we'll have left is Ilios, Gibraltar, and actually no, Gibraltar also been banned. So Ilios or Junkertown. It's the only thing they can go to because they're not allowed to go to Eichenwald yet. So, yeah, Ilios, a very diverse map. A lot of DPS can be run there. Junkertown is, of course, the home of the pirate ship. And if it's going to be run anywhere, it's going to be there. And also snipers are very good there. Yeah, it's going to be a hard one. I don't really know which one you want to choose when you're Nebada right now, because I don't think either of them is necessarily in your favor.
I don't know. I think maybe Junkertown, just because after first point, when you're indoors, it does tend to favour some of those heavier compositions. But again, even on third with that high ground as well, if you got Night Sky on that Genji and Honey's on the Anna, and you got those blades coming out, I mean, the only time that was shut down was when they were running into EMPs, right? And it was just so effective. We'll have to wait and see what Nebada choose to play. But let's have a little think as well about what heroes potentially would you be banning here? We might even see maybe Genji banned or Genji saved, maybe? I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know what you want to do here. What I do know is that Nebada is more likely to go to Ilios. I think I agree with that. You can still run the 3-3 very well on Ruins. You can run it very well on Lighthouse. It's going to be a little bit harder on well. It's still doable there, but it's likely that with the new CC changes, you just get booped into the well a lot of the time. So well, you gotta go with what you gotta go with. But yeah, I think Night Sky will have a lot of potential Pharah play, especially on well again. Also on Lighthouse, not so much on Ruins because the sniper potential is so large there. But it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to actually run out with those compositions, and it's also going to be very important to see what they're going to save. And they're saving Mercy here on the side of
This
Sky.
might tell us something. Do you reckon we're going to see a Pharah ban from Nebada here? Might do. Or this could be the debate. Maybe Skycru are like, we're not planning on running a Pharah anyway,
Maybe.
so we'll save Mercy.
With Night Sky being such a good Pharah, I think you kind
Yeah.
of want to anyways. But on the other hand, Night Sky has played different things that it also worked out well. So I don't know if it's necessarily the hero or if it's just Night Sky that's doing really well. It's always...
If you save Mercy, right, the other team's got to be thinking Pharmacy. So it's more than likely Pharah's going to be banned. So if you want to keep the Pharmacy, maybe saving Mercy isn't actually the best option. Maybe saving a hero that isn't Pharah or Mercy is a better option to try and disguise that, perhaps. But this is the extra level that the hero ban system brings into play. So Winston has been banned. Winston been
banned. Yeah, so that means that they can't really go for a traditional dive-ish composition, a traditional 2-2 dive, where you have the Winston and the Diva. But they could still say Invader. You'd be unable to do Winston, but you could play a Wrecking Ball. It's a thing. Especially on Ilios with all those boops. It's something you can actually be scared of on the side of Nebada here. So, don't know if this is the best ban, but it's definitely a ban there I would say they could be happy with. Invader's been showing a lot of prowess on that Winston, so you definitely you can take that away from the main tank player. While he already has such limited options, that's something you'll do most of the time.
And something for you to do at home right here, right now, or maybe in a couple of minutes, is to vote on your MVP of the match. Go to the panels below the broadcast, and you can vote on your favourite player for any particular reason whatsoever. Personally, I like to vote on how they played. But, if you like their names, you can vote for them because of that as well. We won't hold it against you. But we're going to, well here, class. And I'm excited to see what compositions these teams are going to be locking in.
I mean, I'm not exactly sure what they're going to be locking in, but it looks like they're actually, almost ready to go here. I'm seeing two things here. One is that I'm seeing a McCree and an Orisa on both sides, but then, both teams are looking very different in how they want to execute everything behind it. They're switching up a little bit, but Neb's going over to this Roadhog, who just wants to hook people into the well. And if you're going to have that opportunity, why not? We'll have to watch out, though, because Mikon, Crop, and Invader can just, pull and boop him into that well anyway. So Night Sky on this Torbjorn is going to make the biggest difference, though. We've seen Torbjorn being run very successfully on this point by the Atlanta Rain. Night Sky throwing up the turret in the exact same spot where OG DeFran threw it in. And they're just burning down the shield so quickly. It's actually really, really scary.
And I like the Mercy save here, because Berry's come out on that McCree, perhaps expecting a Pharmacy here, and they haven't run into it. Berry goes down to the orbs of honey. And look at this, we got a little bunker comp in the corner.
Yeah, hey, Elvis has always been good on this map. Like I said, you can use that very well to just, take out your enemies by just pulling them into it.
Dragon already up from Krispy Kreme. Sends it into nowhere though, but that was charged so fast. If he can charge another one like that, it won't do much.
No, it really won't matter that much, and it won't matter, It's how we go. But yeah, no. But you see Mikon Krop already, being up there for that boop. Krispy Kreme takes out a Roadhog. So much damage going into that one hero. Normally, Roadhog is one of the ones that you'll never kill him. He's the last to die because he has way too much health. But there's not enough healing on their side to heal him back up.
If you're Nebada here, you gotta just try and get out there and not get staggered. And looks like Jokester's gonna go down. There's one of the boots we've been waiting for. Mikenrop sending the cloud off the edge.
And I will say, of the 3 maps of Ilios, the 3 stages of Ilios, this would be the hardest one to run 3-3 on. This is by far the hardest map for Nebada to ever win, especially with Night Sky and the Torbjorn maybe going over to the Pharah back again. It's just rough. So they are more likely to win the next 2 stages, but still this showing is so dominant that you're really gonna wonder if they're ever gonna actually be able to capture the point at all.
Ooh, and we've seen he's got a Mercy from Pristine. I believe that hero was banned. So I'm not sure what's going on here, but we will see a Molten Core coming out from Night Sky, finds Neb. And
luckily no cheaters here. Mercy was saved, not banned. It was the Winston that's not playable. That's why we're seeing the Wrecking Ball. Not a problem here. I got your back, man. It's okay.
You got my back.
Yeah, we see the Cloud coming in on killing Krispy Kreme. Night Sky turret is actually taking it back on Very, but with this Transcendence they can just walk through the shield. Maybe they can actually get some kills now.
But there's Transcendence coming out from Honey, keeping Skycru alive. We see a self-destruct sent over the top by Maniac Man as well. Doesn't manage to find too much. It's 99% in favor of Skycru. And Krispy Kreme, they're taking out Jokester as well. We got picks on both sides, but it is now down to Nebada to make something happen. They've got to get some kills here. And Night Sky, well, Night Sky's turret takes out Very before it goes down to the Cloud, and they will take this first point. And again, apologies. I was thinking, oh, there's a Mercy. Mercy's banned. Mercy was not banned. I do apologize to Pristine on that. You were Pristine, I was not. And no Winston. No Winston. But,
no, Winston's actually gonna matter mostly on the last point, not so much on this one. But Wrecking Ball's always been good at control.
Round 2. Capture the objective.
The DPS versus the 3-3 is now actually going to show what these teams have got in them.
And Nebada looking to go straight to point there. We've got Invader there. Did try and get a few cheeky boops. Didn't manage to land it. And there we go. We've got this head of Nebada on the point. And oh, there we go. Invader able to knock Pristine off the map. Night Sky gets the kill into the Jokester as well. This is going to mean Skycru have a 6v4 numbers advantage here. They're able to get a few more kills, and the Cloud goes flying off the map as well. We're getting environmental kills left, right, and centre. Big from them as well. I think most of these are environmental class, and Skycru are going to be able to. They're going to take this point.
And most of that was all set up by the very first move that Invader made. Just booped away the Reinhardt and I think the Diva at the very start, just to make sure they couldn't all walk together to the point. So that meant the Jokester was actually just split off from the team, got solo picked off, and then you're already 5v6. And then Pristine got booped off, so you're using another support, and you're 4v6, and it just snowballed out from there.
A bit of a poking battle from both sides here. Invader causing a bit of chaos, running away, doing what Wrecking Balls do so well, causing chaos and getting out of there alive as well. Healed up by Honey on the Mercy, which is playable, was in fact saved, so I don't know who would have thought otherwise there. But now both teams on the point. Night Sky coming out with the barrage, finds Jokester, doesn't find too much else, gets killed by Neb here. Maniac Man taking out the Sackler though. This is kills on both sides, but the kill feed is looking bluer and bluer and bluer. And they're going to be able to hold this point. Skycru in blue, halfway there to winning this series.
You're halfway there, 5 more ultimates in the bank. They really shouldn't have any worries whatsoever right now. And we see a Sombra McCree now coming out for the other side of Nebada here. And I don't know if that's going to be the answer, but it's a possible answer they could do. This is a Cloud goes straight away, though. You're really not doing well or much anti-air there, as McCree.
Krispy Kreme's got a few answers, and they're called headshots. The Cloud taken out of that fight. 80% now on the clock for Skycru. They just need to win one more fight, and they have won this series. Nebada, there's something to prove here. They've got to get on the point, they've got to flip it, and they've got to win this fight. Vader takes out Pristine with the minefield, though. And look at this. We've got the Sackler on the point trying to get rid of the minefield. Not really doing too much though. We've got ultimates coming out on both sides, and Bob is doing something. He's just sitting on point, firing away, takes out that Sackler. And this is going to be it. This is going to be Skycru with the victory. GG. That was a pleasure to watch.
Definitely a pleasure to watch, and banning out the Winston might actually have been a detriment to them because that Wrecking Ball got so much value there. Just every single boop, every single thing, every single disruption was so valuable there from Invader.
Speaking of value.
Yeah. Yeah, you do not want to run into that in your ladder games. That's not going to be fun for you. But luckily, this was just it was actually just two teams playing against each other, so no one losing any SR. But of course, losing a little bit of pride and a little bit of the standing in the tournament, because I mean we are in a double elimination bracket. None of them are just down and out just yet, but that will shake. Well, it won't shake up the standings. We'll just get more standings now. You know, we actually know who's facing off to who next week. Or next time that these teams will play. It's going to be Skycru eSports that's going to be able to face off against the by default winners of our last series that didn't actually happen, which is going to be MSOE Raiders. So they're going to be playing against each other on the 16th of April. And the losers bracket is unfortunately not going to be taking place there. So Nebada will have to wait a little bit for their next match.
But one thing we don't have to wait for is our player interview. And I believe we've got Mick and Rob in the room. How are you doing, Mick and Rob?
I'm doing pretty damn good. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, really good. After watching that, very good. That was a really, really exciting matchup there. Firstly, congratulations on the win.
Thank you, thank you.
What is it that you... what is it that you think that actually won the match out for you there? Because there were times where it was pretty close, but then towards the end, the last few maps looked pretty solidly in your favor.
See, I think we won it because our team doesn't have a very strong goats comp. We're very much in favor of dive comps. So once we got off of Li Jiang, I think we were doing pretty good. Once we could ban those goats maps, we had her in the bag.
Oh, and I've got to ask as well. So the hero save and ban system here. When you when Mercy was saved in that last match, was that a bit of a debate? Was that like we're not planning on running the Pharah anyway, but then they might just and Pharah? Like, what was the thought process behind that?
Now we run Pharmacy on a lot of maps. We didn't know specifically what map they were going to choose, and both on Junkertown and the other maps available, we do run Pharmacy. So we wanted to make sure we could save it in case they chose those maps. Ilios just happens to be one of the maps we don't run it on.
Okay.
So it was a cautious decision, but I don't know. It worked out.
It did indeed, like, because we were watching it, and when it was on Li Jiang, it was a bit back and forth, and then went to Hanamura, and what was going through your comms when you got the win on Hanamura there? Because from what I saw, it was a bit of a back cap.
Basically, we were calling to dive the top right, but they like focused insanely hard on me and our diva, right? And we just said, "Oh, okay, we're gonna go cap." Like that. That was it. The comms were kind of like, "Oh, we can do this. We're gonna do this."
And the other interesting thing I found on her as well was the bunker comps in defense and the use of Baptiste as well. I know, Klaas, you were talking about the hack being so important onto the Bastion at one point as well. But how do you feel about Baptiste and the bunker comps, and how do you feel about Baptiste now that he's in competitive and that he's in tournaments like this?
Honestly, he's still pretty new. We don't have a lot of comps made up with him, so it's hard to run him in these situations. We want to run him eventually. I think he's going to be very strong in bunker comp situations, but it's a matter of feeling him out and really working him into the comps. So it takes time. It takes time. I think he's going to be a really good asset for bunker, though.
Sure. I mean, I'm certainly excited to see him played more often in higher level matchups. And speaking of matchups, actually, you are through to the next round, and you're going to be up against MSOE Raiders. Do you know anything about their team? Are you going to be preparing for that in any particular way at all? They unfortunately they didn't get to play their match earlier because their opponents forfeit. So there's no VOD reviews from tonight to go back and look at. But do you know anything about them at all?
I have absolutely no idea who these people are, but I hope it's going to be a good matchup.
Oh, I'm sure it will if you guys are playing it. So certainly really fun to cast when it's not goats. I mean, I do like casting goats as well, but you know, it's refreshing. It's refreshing. Yeah. I know goats can be like a high level. It can be quite fun, but hopefully our viewers at home as well enjoyed it tonight as well. Were there any players on the opposing team that really stood out to you, or were making your life difficult, or making maybe your support's life difficult at all? Have you got any shout outs for the other team?
Honestly, I don't think they really made our lives difficult to an extent. The only one I really recognize is their Zarya player, Zekrom. I'm not exactly. Crowd, yes. I see him in comp a lot, so
okay.
It's just a familiar face, and I was like, oh, okay, it's him.
Oh, that's nice. It's always nice to be playing against people that you know are acquaintances and stuff. I do have to say congratulations as well to our MVP of the evening, which is Maniac Man, which is our viewers' MVP. So congratulations on that. Before we wrap the interview up, Mick and Rob, any shout-outs you'd like to make? Any last points you'd like to make before we end this broadcast?
No, none really come to mind, honestly.
Okay, well, I'm just going to say congratulations once more. It was a fantastic match to watch. Good luck in your future matches in the Watchers Brawl. I hope you do well in future as well, and I'm hoping we get to cast you again as well, which I'm sure we will. So thank you very much for taking part. Thank you team as well, Skycru eSports, for taking part. Thanks Nebada for taking part as well. Thank you all for joining the Watchers Brawl as well. Make sure that you follow them on Twitter and on Twitch as well, so you know when the next matches are coming up. The next match after this one is going to be on the 8th at 7 PM Eastern Time between Urgency and the Toronto Tide Pods. So make sure you've got that in your diaries and you tune in for that as well. I've been Spaceman, and I've been joined by the wonderful Man of Class. My Twitter and my Twitch, if you want to follow, is Spaceman OW, and Man of Class, I believe it's the same.
I mean, not the same as you, but it's been a class OW for both. So yeah, it's pretty easy. I just updated my logo, so I actually have new banners now. I'm all happy about it. Yeah.
Go check out his logo because he has been spending a lot of time on it. But make sure, more importantly, you sub to the Watchers Brawl and you come back and watch this because it is a brilliant format and we love casting it as well. So make sure you're joining us on the 8th at 7 PM. But that will be it from us this evening, and we will catch you again shortly.